Hi, Angel here with another video. Hopefully all is well with you. I figure I would record this as a kind of a record keeping of my second road marathon, third marathon overall, including the ultra. Today it's a very light run, so I'm going to take my Bose wireless sport headphones and my watches for a backup for a short run, only 3.25 miles. Try to make sure I keep my glycogen levels up, make sure I'm not exerting too much energy, and just have fun because I've been kind of lazy this week as I am permitted to rest up for Sunday's marathon. Yay! Okay, so yeah, that's where I am. What's the game plan? This is my second road marathon, and I just hope to correct the many issues that I experienced with the New York City Marathon. Now, to make it clear, I do not suspect that I will run the New York City Marathon again. I don't have any hopes for Chicago or any of that type stuff. As I stated in a previous video, I have a very ambitious goal regarding my business, a startup, which is essentially not even fully born yet, even though, well, I guess you could say it's born. I got the certificate from the state. So it's a newborn baby. So it just is aggressively needy. So it has the highest priority. So my game plan is what I've done differently. Now, amazingly, I only knew about this marathon 2 weeks ago, but I've been running tenaciously, consistently, so I have little concern. I have not ran 20 some miles, but I think I may have stated somewhere else I have ran usually 14 to 15. I run two double digits run per week. So for instance, I may run a 10.2 miles on a Friday. Saturday I would run an 8.25, and then a 14 miler. Now the 14 and the 10 miler all have at least 16 to 1800 gain, and that's a conservative number according to my Apple Watch. So if I use my Sunto outside of Strava annual changes, that'll probably have me at about 2,000 gain per run, and that's the gain. The max elevation, it varies depending on which device I choose. The Apple Watch is still kind of conservative, 160, 170 something. The Sunto and the Garmin about 250. So yeah, you can see there's a change there. So game plan is, starting last week, I actually took days off. I just am exhausted. Working full time, commuting, running, starting a business, and again, running every day was just too much. So I figured the first thing I needed to do was cut down mileage and time on my feet so I could feel rested. And that was a great solution. So last week, I only did like 35 miles that week, and I felt really good. And the reason why I opted to do that is because I cannot run hills. The final week you should not. Now with the New York City Marathon, I ran hills, and I ran every single day. So I was just totally depleted. So I'm hoping that this strategy, some of which I modified, I never follow things 100% because no body is the same. Our bodies are individuals. So I took some of the playbook from the Active Running magazine to Coaching magazine and from Runner's World and a few other magazines, and I conjoined them to create my own project. I said, okay, I have 2 weeks to do this because I just found out about the marathon. 1, I cut down mileage. 2, spent more time resting. 3, making sure I'm hydrated. I found that in the final week, the week of the marathon, you should have gained like 2 pounds, but from healthy foods. And I'm a vegan, so I'm not concerned too much about the foods that I eat. I just got to watch my fiber because a lot of fiber in vegan foods, which can be the nightmare of the runner because you're just releasing nutrients with so much fiber. So yeah, a lot of rest, less run time, and focusing on nutrition. I woke up and I was like, wow, my body feels really good. I mean, I can tell you honestly, I with the reduction and training, because I did not expect to run another marathon so soon, I had cut back my training from 17 hours per week. That include running trail runs, road runs, and so forth, to about 11, 10, 11, and 12. So last week, my time on my feet, including walking, because I walk a lot too, was probably like 10 or 11 hours. The week before. No, last week, including walking. This week, I have ran very little. Supposedly, the max run is only supposed to be 4 miles. I'm only doing 3.2 because there's no way for me to get around hills where I run at. I live in Yonkers, New York, outside of the city, and where I do live at in the city, it's a lot of hills. So there's no other option for me other than to just stick to the treadmill and cut the mileage down tremendously. So I feel really good. And another reason why I cut down mileage is because when the weather changes a lot, as it has been this year in New York, where it is below freezing, and then the weather goes up to a certain above freezing, and there's like this humidity in the air which drains my fluids. So that was another problem that I experienced with the New York City Marathon, that I'm trying to prevent from happening by not running outside all the time. So I've been running the treadmill. Sorry about that. Someone left me a voicemail, and I really need to start separating my devices. But yeah, so I'm really working on making those type changes. So again, today is a really short, easy run, making sure I'm all stored up and nice and healthy, plump for the marathon. So I'll have energy. Game plan for this marathon is a different route. It's an easier route. Although I will say the New York City Marathon was not a hard route, but I had exhausted myself and depleted my energies for running. So it was just a total mess. I completed in 4 hours. And that's like stopping every 3 miles trying to hydrate. It was a mess. I felt like I ran like 12-minute miles. So I found out it was like 9:23. I was so surprised because it felt long and it felt short. The miles felt short, but it's just that I was cramping even before the race started. So I mean, can you imagine 4 hours of running with cramps? It was so bad I could not even stretch myself out. Had I stretched myself out, I felt I would have been stuck and not able to complete the course. And the Apple Watch supposed to go for 6 hours. I looked at my watch at about 10 miles per hour at 10 miles. And saw that it was just statistically improbable for me to finish the entire race. And I would feel better mentally if I stopped the GPS tracking versus my watch crashing on me. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just kind of like a mental thing. It's like I would be totally infuriated running, and this thing's supposed to last 6 hours, lasting less than 4, and then I don't have my music on top of that. So I cut the run short, and I stuck to my Sunto, which I don't know. It was ahead on the mileage a little bit. I think I started to watch prematurely. There were so many people, so hard to challenge it. It was so challenging to determine the start. I was like, forget it. So I modified the run before I uploaded it to Strava through an app called Run Gap. That's for the Apple Watch. For the iPhone. So this game plan is to use the Work Outdoors app on my Apple Watch, and then to run my Sunto again for backup. The Sunto and the Garmin, to me, run very similar. They work similar on road mileage. it is the Apple Watch that has the biggest problem when it comes to city runs. The good news is that this run is not in the city, although it's in a borough of the city. It's in Long Island, so there are no big buildings hindering the GPS signal. So I'm hoping for a much better result with my Apple Watch and definitely my Sunto. So yeah, that's my game plan as it stands now. I think I'm going to be better with making sure I document these runs as I go forth, because again, my next objective is really the 50 miler. So that's a year worth of training. I figure by within a year I should have my company up and running, still in the infancy stage, very needy, but I would have like trained 2 years worth of distance. And running is like everything else. The more you do, the better you get at it. The half marathon to me is as easy as running a 5K or a 10K. Very easy stuff, but I really need to harness in on these longer distances if I'm going to be better. So the goal of this marathon wasn't on my agenda, just came up. I said, hey, let me just go ahead and do it, work on my distance fueling, because my fueling and my overtraining really hurt the marathon. So this is just another go at it. So I'm going to see how it goes. So if you're running or have any races coming up, let me know. Or maybe you're thinking about running. My advice to people who are just getting out there, start slow and steady. My brother was so inspired. My other brother, I have two brothers, my twin was like, oh, I'm going to run the Japan marathon, and he wants me to run with him. And I said, okay, great. But then one thing I'll tell you, start out slow and easy. Make sure it's fun and enjoyable. If you want to do speed, choose a particular day for speed workouts. Don't make every day a speed workout. It's draining, it's tiring, and you'll want to like give up running in the long run. And that's just my advice. So yeah, hopefully I said something that was interesting to you. What device do you run with, or what's your preference, or what's your dream preference? For me personally, I'm thinking about upgrading my Garmin Vivo Active 3 to the Garmin 6X. I've been looking at the devices, but to be honest with you, I think they're all a joke. If you're going to do like a long distance trail run, to me, the Apple Watch is better than the Garmin and the Sunto. For some reason, they track elevation really well, but they are terrible, absolutely terrible with mileage. And you want both, because if you're running for 6, 7, 8 hours, trying to reach 14, 15, 20.26 miles, being a mile off is a big difference. That's the difference between another 15, 20 minutes, depending on how bad the GPS is. So I'm thinking about the Garmin, but everyone's so biased about the devices. It's hard to really get an idea of how the performance really is, how it really works in real life training. Yeah, so that's all. Hopefully you have a nice day. God bless you. Bye.